Hey guys, this is Chris from the Swordcast Adventures, and you are listening to the Mongers Actual Play Podcast. Enjoy.
Hello everyone, and welcome to We Shot First, the Saga Edition Star Wars Actual Play podcast, where our motley crew of mercenaries has continued to deliver laughs, chills, spills, and have recently, when I left you, I believe, in our last season, you guys had boarded the ship, the Nebula B frigate Resurgence, met its captain, turned over your VIP, the Turncoat Imperial Admiral Gilder Varth, to Eldoranian, long may it rain, security force hiding in deep space. The Banshee with Captain O'Keefe has docked, dropped you off, and she is debriefing with the new captain. You guys have been offered quarters. Stay a while. Payment pending. He will honor Bail Organa's words and pay up. You guys are given bed rest, food, general location walk of the ship, chance to rearm, resupply, and most importantly, get a little bit of well-earned rest. We go now approximately a day or so later, and you guys are all crammed into one section of the ship on the Nebula B frigate, which well, it's not the best map, but it will serve on this particular floor plan. There is entire section. There's about 6 or 8 decks on this ship. At the back of the ship, now just to spark memory, guys, you guys do remember that the Resurgence, the Nebula B class frigate for an instant picture view, is the ship that is like a medical frigate in very end. Empire Strikes Back, camera pans out, and there's a ship that looks like a giant coat rack hanger with a thinning bar in the middle and big engines on the back and a long dripping bridge section at the front. But the actual interior of the ship, the center of the ship has a bunch of docking rings underneath it, and several ships, about 3 or so, could actually dock with this ship, and that is where we are actually docked. And if you guys get into that sort of central view and walk towards the engines, the back of the ship, there's an entire rectangular section, which I am trying to race us over and show you, the old shift ping, like so. You seeing this?
Yep.
In this section of there are crew quarters and such, and you guys have been assigned crew quarters in this section. Now, blowing up the view here, it is a little bit blurry, but just so you guys have a general layout, it is a giant T intersection. The entire room housing all the quarters is about rectangularly shaped, and if we go along the south wall, there's 3, 6, 9, about 10 little cabin crews. You walk in, it's a nice little 10 by 12 space with a bed, a desk, and a little personal, refresher type of thing going. Slightly larger storage and cabin crews on the upper wall on one side of the fuselage hallway, and sort of an S-bend in the hallway dumping into this side-by-side corridor with a couple of more nicer cabins with little offices. Those are for officers. You guys have been put along the bottom bunk row, taking up regular crew space. Not really enough room to bunk together, but definitely enough room where you guys could visit each other and sit down and hang out, or cram 3 or 4 guys in a room, secret meetings if you wish.
Okay.
Now, you are waiting for the captain of this new vessel to debrief your turncoat, Admiral Gilder Varth. They have asked you to wait, and they finally came through about 24, 48 hours later with your payment. So, with the credits that Bail Organa had sort of put in trust, this guy pays up. And now you guys have money, you do have access to the HoloNet, and you guys have had, at least a little bit day of rest before you guys get back into, training and how we spent our XP and such type of thing. I thought it would be cool, instead of just going, hey, what level did you take? And hey, what did you do with your feet or whatever? That in story, you guys actually have access to the ship, which has trained personnel on it, with just about every character class represented. Now, someone like our Jedi would have to do self-reflection and that kind of thing, but he has his own ways to train. Same thing with the two nobles, could bounce ideas. a lot of guys that are looking to pick up combat feats and stuff, whether you go to Merrick or whether you guys, visit the training facilities, work with trainers and sergeants and stuff in the crew, needs can be met, and you guys should be able to train and level in the time, the days, the weeks that you are here. But right now, I believe my players have been begging, whispering, wanting to have the radio science lifted so that you guys can peruse the HoloNet to make a purchase. And what have you guys decided to buy that you cannot get here on the ship?
A ship.
Your own ship. Okay. Sounds like we need to do some negotiating, some role-playing, some lore collecting, and cue the DM's first Season 2 dice drop.
Woohoo!
We are a couple of minutes in, and no one has commented on my new voice, which is coming through my new dynamic microphone. And hopefully I sound a lot less muted, and this microphone, my new microphone, new gear, yahoo, picks up my voice a little nicer so I don't sound so annoying.
I don't know if you can really do anything about that, Jeff.
Well, there is that one operation, but it's highly risky, I heard.
Okay. Remember, gentlemen, I control the HoloNet. So.
Right. I mean, it sounds so good, Jeff. What a worthwhile investment. I'm so glad you did that. Yay, deals on chips.
Jeff, you're the man.
Whatever.
Thank you. So, assuming that you guys have had the chance to talk with each other, get some rest, sneak around or whatever, you were talking about possibly pooling some party resources and on the HoloNet for a used, because no one can really afford you brand new ship, not with the money you're being paid.
True story. Not yet. Anyways. Eventually, though. Yes. And as far as pooling goes, it depends on what's available. But more than likely, I'll need to tap into some external finances, at the very least, to fuel and supply the ship. I think I've got enough to buy it outright. We'll see how the negotiation goes.
Okay. Well, as far as ships actually go, what are you guys thinking about getting your hands on?
I've been looking at the YT series light freighters.
Okay.
By Corellian Industry.
Corellian shipyards,
whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
So they're plentiful. There should be lots of used ones.
Please tell me that you are not going to go stomping off and find the first YT 1300 to heavily modify and pass yourselves off as a certain Star Wars icon and his big furry friend.
No, I was actually leaning more towards the YT 2400 because it comes with with shields installed already, and it's negligible price wise. Like, for me to put shields on the YT 1300, it'll cost me more than the 2400.
Especially also because the Solo movie's coming out, and he'll do it better than we would. It's just that's going to happen.
True story.
For those in you in the possible know, the Y2400 is an upgrade. It's a newer ship than the Millennium Falcon. And if you guys remember a really cool old Nintendo 64 game called Shadows of the Empire.
Oh, so good.
Dash Rendar, it starts off in Echo Base, and he had a YT400, and it has the saucer section, only it has sort of like a fin sticking out the side and holds the fuselage of the cockpit, not necessarily the prongs that stick out the front and the fuselage on the side. It's a little bit more dish-shaped. It's a little hard to
It's ugly. I don't like the look of it at all, but for utility, it's a good ship.
Okay. For utilitarian, right. All right. So I've got my hands. I'm just pulling up some images, and we will flood the net, or wherever we can get one up in handout section, something shiny to look at. In the meantime, you guys are perusing used shipyards. Now, how new is this ship? Did you guys actually check its media break?
No, I actually did not check this particular ship. I did check the YT 1300, which was going to be my first choice until I did a little bit more research. But the YT 1300 was old when the Clone Wars happened.
Right. And I do know there's a brand new shiny during Empire Strikes Back, which currently is approximately 20 or 24 years, 22 years, I think, away from where you guys are right now. So the question is, does it exist, and can you only get them new?
That is a good question. I should check into that.
Very slightly used, because I don't want to have a bunch of emails screaming at me going, because you guys did not reveal your ship of choice. It was like, no, we're going to wait season 2. We're going to surprise you.
Like I said, it's not really up to me. It's up to you. What ships are available? You know what I mean?
Oh, I have a list of ships available. At least you told me you guys were after a ship. But I didn't think you would actually go for top of the line. I was fearing the Y1300, the YT1300. I thought you guys would go for something maybe like the Cathok freighter, something like the old macleod from our old campaign, which came out the luxury huge walnut that's designed to travel in style with not a lot of cargo space, but has 3 decks of awesomeness. Came out during the Clone Wars and did not do very well in sales because a war broke out. Luxury freighting wasn't a big thing.
Well, it does say Rise of the Rebellion era is when it was released.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's now.
Now, yeah.
Yeah, that's just coming out. So these are just coming off the line.
Yeah.
So there should be pricing in the ship book. I want you guys to look that up while I'm right here. Anyway, so while you guys are looking into ship prices or whatever, there's the online used ship sale, blah, blah, blah. How are you going to go get it? Remember, we are in deep space, off and away from a space lane, hiding, and our ride here is a attractive female, O'Keefe, who isn't particularly fond of her, that we would possibly have to shake down for a ride to go pick up, said.
Anyway, we could kind of arrange a drop-off point,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm just saying, we're talking some persuasion and diplomacy. If you guys just, instead of like, oh, we arrive at the shipyard, it's like, no. Approach O'Keefe, see if she's busy, talk to her, that kind of thing. Be part of your immediate.
Well, instead of approaching O'Keefe, I would approach the captain of the Resurgence,
Captain Adrian Verana. Captain Verana. Casted into Nathan Fillion because the picture they gave actually looks quite like him. And just to prove that once more, there you go. Tell me that does not look with the forehead and the haircut.
It does.
The eyes, the droopy puppy eyes.
A little bit.
It's like that's Nathan Fillion. I'm telling you. It is. It is you. It really is you.
We found
All right. So when he's not incredibly busy, Rahal, the crew, you guys all lined up. How are we going to do this?
Well, I would approach it as a solo venture first.
Okay. All right. So before we get into that, though, I would like to go around and touch on some things to bridge the gap, as it were. So, Rahal, you head to see the captain. You have a nice little role play there on behalf of your crew. And his crew, you're trying to arrange a ride to go to a nearby shipyard where you have found a system that has some used or possibly brand new 2400 that you could possibly steal, haggle down, or something.
Right.
That is the plan.
Yes.
Okay. In the meantime, I'm not saying this happens this moment. I am saying, though, between the last time we gamed and Season 1 ended, and we come out onto the Resurgence, you guys have had downtime, and you've each done some interesting things. Now, you guys would do what your class is expected. You guys soldier up, scout up, Jedi up, meditate for those who can, research for those who can, try to deplete the supplies for as cheap as you can of, Verana's hospitality, blah, blah, blah. Before you guys get bored, decide, okay, we're going to go on our way. This is all of a given. I'd like to quickly go over and cover some things that an audience possibly would not expect us to do. Now, we had a great scene delving into Rahal Oberys's past when he almost died. And we learned of real estate and ex-wives and all sorts of payoffs that need to be made. But luckily they decided, forget that. Clear! Bring him back to life, and his finances are his own problem. At the moment, Merrick isn't very open about himself and whatever, and you guys have sort of written him off as Oberys's stooge. So I'm going to start. Dr. Leth, you and Arthur, as you told me, plan to spend every free moment locked up in that lab and don't want to be disturbed unless you guys are leaving or, you guys are approached with a deal. The possibly reverse engineering of Dr. Veshra's formula?
That is the plan, yes.
All right. Now, you guys scored a couple samples of this, like about 8 or 10 shots of it, and it allows a player to med packs twice in a single day. Fatiguing the body, like taking down the condition track a little bit, but worth it in a pinch. But you also have his notes. And we had discussed in the heat of the moment of you decrypting and trying to get your hands on the stuff that you couldn't read it, but you could get your hands on the data, and now you have to crack it.
Mm-hmm.
So, given time and Arthur's skills, and possibly, if you want to hit the Eldarians for some help. This stuff could come to light now, soon, this week. And yes, sort of putting Arthur and your own work together, if you specifically wish to designate him to this, he can work on the decryption of the files and actually get in the guy's notes and formula, as opposed to, you trying to reverse engineering something way faster.
Yes, no, that would be ideal.
Okay, so can I have a used computer used from you to back Arthur, or are you going to be the lead on this? Arthur's backing you.
I believe I will take the lead.
Okay, so if you please.
Is it possible to take 20 or so on this, or does it have to be...
I think this gets back to the old, hey, if we all had craft armor and just took 20, we would all be wearing mithril armor, and it would be, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair,
yeah. So this is sort of a challenge.
Okay,
right?
Well, I'm also going to be using my Flash of Inspiration for an extra +5 onto this roll.
Okay, now this is what you actually would call a skill challenge, thing that you have to get X amount of successes before you get so many failures, and the data, you do find an encryption, like it's kind of delicate software where it would rather erase itself than be revealed if you don't go about this delicately. Arthur warns you of this. The rolls I just dropped, he finds the trap, as it were. He's like, Master, this stuff, if we don't do this carefully, will erase, the decryption will just turn itself into gobbledygook garbage. So, sharing a skill challenge, you need 3 successes before obtaining 2 failures. You follow me?
I do.
I've not really had a chance to get into the sort of skill challenges which are presented in the rules, but they are lots of fun, and this is a great place to introduce one. So, starting off with Arthur trying to help you, which he does. You gain a +2. May I have a used computer at a +2 on top of your additional bonuses?
Natural 20 for a 32.
Off to the races. Excellent. You guys crack a foot in the door. And for suspense purposes, we're going to move down the line, as you guys are going to actually spend hours decrypting this formula. We move on to Old Man Zin. Downtime doesn't always agree with you.
I know.
There's the temptation of the bottle, the temptation of possibly chatting up some of the female crew members. There's young, starry-eyed Eldoradians who recognize your race and where you might be posted during the Clone Wars wanting stories, and this could rile up a whole bunch of PST, which is not your idea of a good time. However, work makes you focused, and I believe we had discussed out of game how you might be interested in going down to the shooting range and, forever tweaking... I'm never going to remember the name of your gun. The Widowmaker?
Ex-wife.
Marriage Breaker. Ex-wife.
Ex-wife.
Always tweaking the ex-wife.
Nothing ruins a
Gotta
day.
push them buttons.
Due diligence, right? She needs a payment every once in a while, and you got to invest money in this gun. And
Gotta push them buttons.
exactly. At the shooting range, and, young people take interest. Are you willing to, give lessons as well as your downtime? Talk about your gun.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right. A lot of cadets get pulled away. Some hours go by, sleep, eat, return to the range. Less cadets, other new cadets or whatever, right? You take notice of one young ensign, and she doesn't seem interested in clamoring around you, whatever. She just shows up quietly. The others don't seem to talk to her either, and she sets herself up, pulls her targets, cleans her gun, puts on her headphones, bang, 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 checks everything, does not seem impressed, does it again, bang, 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 shows up earlier than anyone, stays later than anyone. You've checked her targets, not bad shooting, that type of thing. But she doesn't seem to interact with anybody, and no one seems to interact with her. Reminds you of someone. After this pattern sort of evolves, you find yourself getting ready to go the next morning, because like I said, we haven't been here this long. You find yourself getting ready to go to the range, and you wonder if she's going to be there.
Okay.
And I'd like to do a very special cutscene.
Okay.
We're going back into Old Man Zin past. Back to who this young woman might remind you of. Headstrong, stubborn, naturally talented, an unusual race, which I won't get into, just a canon race, who became sort of, shall we say, interested and wanting to, learn your trade at a very tender young age, sort of like a preteen that, would barely be allowed by parents to hold said gun. You know,
Mhm.
perfect age to learn to shoot. You know, just old enough to like pay attention and whatever with proper guidance. But you know, the proverbial 12-year-old that with some very special supervision can learn the basics. This is the gun. This is safety. Blah blah blah. You know, type of thing, right? Taking herself in the world too seriously. This youngster had taken to you. First didn't like you because when you were assigned to a certain outpost, you would frequent the local cantina, which her mom sang at. Single mom, trying to get by, you know, was always hit on because of her enchanting voice, despite her unusual appearance, and, you know, ran into some trouble with some locals that you helped her out with, you know. Dogs chasing them in the streets.
Real animals.
Yes.
Yeah, real, you know, sick the dogs on her.
I turn, waving my hand at these images of yipping dogs, and back to the old training memories.
Back to the old training memories. Just pondering, just, you know, stirring up the insides. You get down to the ranges, and she's not there. You set up, you do your shooting, you go through your, you know, your montage, and you're done for the day. And it's catching you up in time to where Rahal is about to approach the captain. And you've in some downtime or like a mealtime, you've met up with your guys, and you guys were discussing buying a ship. And I believe you've signed on your credits to this. You know, invested.
Yeah.
You stay with these guys, buy a ship, right?
Yep.
You notice she was watching you. She actually popped up during mealtime and was watching you. But if you approached her or, you know, went to go over with your meal tray or anything, gone. She clams up to not at the shooting range today. You go through get to the very end, and you're about to leave because you know that Rahal said, you know, after we eat and you get some more downtime you want to do in a couple hours, he's going to wait until the captain's shift has ended and approach him for this favor. And if the captain says yes, we got to move, so be ready. You know, so you want to head back to your room. So you head all the way back to your room, and there she is, this young ensign, sort of pacing back and forth of your door. What do you do?
Is there something I can help you with? I saw you weren't down at the range. That's not quite like you.
She starts as if she thought you were in the room and was like possibly deciding to knock on the door.
Okay.
So for you to come up like out of a hallway, she's kind of surprised. I mean, she shouldn't be. If she's been watching you, whatever. You were at the range. You've been at the range for like the day and a half. You know, you pretty much live there, just to get the gun set up. Maybe she was contemplating breaking into your room, and you've caught her by surprise. Anyway, she puts the mask back on, catches herself, clenches her fists at her side, and marches past you and says, "No, it's nothing. Never mind." And she just goes right past you. And
I'll kind of follow her, you know, from a distance.
Okay. She heads down to the mess hall and gets in line for, you know, the breakfasty part. Looks very serious and just quietly takes her rations or whatever, goes and sits alone. No one sits with her. No one talks to her.
So I'm not really trying to be stealthy because there's probably not a whole lot of places to hide in this ship. So, you know, as she sits down to start eating, I'll just drop my plate down on the table, you know, across from her and sit down. Not a lot of places to hide on this ship. If you got something to say, you should probably start saying it.
Okay. She flares her eyes at you like, you know, like the nerve kind of thing, and goes to, you know, get up and lift her tray and just leave. And then, you know, like your sentence sort of sinks in.
What?
She sits back down.
Did I kill somebody you know?
She just looks at you confused for a moment.
It happens.
Is that supposed to be a joke?
Well, you saw what we do. Day after day. Laying there, looking down the scope of a gun. Killed dozens of people. Hundreds, maybe. I don't know. You look like you got that look in your eye. Like you got something important to say. You just don't know how to say it yet.
I haven't killed anyone yet.
You trying to work your way through a grudge?
No. I'm willing to serve Alderaan, serve this ship, but as part of a tactical away party, don't seem to go anywhere but float in space and receive strange envoys pointing at you, like directly at you. You know, there's not a lot of use for me to do, but just practice. We can't really practice here. What's it to you? Oh, silent, muted, old man. If
Don't. Sorry, my stupid dogs are barking in the background.
it's fine. It's just we're all doing this.
Oh, I know. It's minimized. All I can see is Jeff.
Oh, okay.
Right. There's nothing more personal, more intimate than taking a man's life. You look down the barrel through that scope just before you shoot him, and you see him. You see the way his face looks right before you squeeze the trigger. You're going to remember him every time you close your eyes. So is that really something you're so eager to step off this ship and do?
She's glaring at you, mad, disgusted even, and yet she's leaning in so close, hanging on your every word. No. Well, if I had to. Well, ugh. And she just, like, picks up her tray and stomps off and exits.
Go back to eating my, Soylent.
Okay. Looking down at your Soylent, mucking around. Reminder of a meal just before the war, just before you were assigned and taken away from your outpost and reassigned. Spending what time you could with this slightly needy family, woman and her daughter. You never really figured yourself as a father figure or whatever, but there's really only one thing you can teach the kid, and it's the discipline of being a shooter. Naturally talented, she'd make a great spotter at least. The mom objected at first, but, the kid eventually sought you out. But this young woman reminds you of this young, pubescent, strong-willed. Her eyes and her demeanor say one thing, but the body language, she has a need for something, a crave for something, a bar that she set high and knows that she needs to be focused to get there and is too proud to ask for help. That's how it started before. But it didn't end well. Not for the kid, not for the mom. Shaking away these memories again, you go back to your poser.
Yes, Jeff.
Reconnecting with the Force, the Felucians, the living beat, feeling, music, sound, essence, smells, overwhelming sensory of the Felucian planet. Having the shaman decide that he could sense your power and making the decision to seek you out and test you, train you, mess with you, not sure. But after you left and came down off of the top of that sticky 60-foot mushroom tree, his thoughts, his need, his whatever it was he was trying to show you, this impression of adapt, is sort of what you'd already tried to do. Order 66 came, your master died, ensuring your safety, and now you sit, wondering what would happen to the Felucians after you guys destroyed a prison facility, and very pissed off Imperials will come. Is the Felucian village hidden enough? Is it safe enough? Will Mandrake and the Shaman keep them safe? Are they inconsequential? Do they just pick up your scent? Are the Imperials tracking you? And what of this Inquisitor Draco and his shuttle? Did you guys get away in time? Did they track the ship? All these thoughts cannot be denied, repressed for very long. You get bored this ship, you get some downtime, and the dreams start again. You had always been very sensitive, but lacked discipline and focus, and your current master at the time decided not to really train you in a lot of far-seeing and get you into vision questing and a bunch of stuff like that. You had psychic impressions, you had visions, you had all those things that come with just being a Padawan, and they encouraged that reach out, tap in the Force, and extending your senses. They all get that kind of training. But for some reason, you felt you had talent for it, or perhaps you denied natural talent. You just really hadn't got to that part. So when dreams come, these visions, the Force talking to you. Edit. Aiden, can you mute?
Yeah. Sorry.
No, I'll get you to, because I'm picking up a lot of walking. You can't help to feel left, I'm not saying hollow, but you were a Padawan when you left that life. You weren't fully trained. You were not a Jedi. You had lightsaber training. You had Force training. You had Force powers that you were beginning to use and starting to master. And really hadn't, until you met Oberys and decided to sort of I wouldn't say out yourself, but quietly start using powers from the shadows and getting that rush and being able to hone your skills, riding shotgun with this party of miscreants, to be in contact with a master, somebody like the shaman master that could actually teach you something vital, and you've picked up some of the skills when you leveled and that kind of thing, if they're available to you. It's hard to go back to shutting down, forgetting. And so on the very first night on the Resurgence, the hum, the drone of the ship sleeping aboard a larger vessel brings back memories of your master. You remember landing planet, you, and actually other Jedi with your master, him being the only one having a Padawan. We're investigating something that you didn't really need the usual band of entire segment of clones. The Council wasn't very big on making your master an actual sort of general in the war. You guys did participate in the war. You did have missions, but it was more like Black Ops cannibalistic stuff on the edge, something a hint of this, a go track down that kind of thing. You get the two of you are mostly on your own, and with the odd clone, small platoon or contingent, to back you if needed, if you guys were, kind of like a recon force. And it's that sort of happenstance that you're here and alive today. Because when the clones were radioed, and a few of them were in your presence, and Order 66 went down, they got lucky in that they were able to sort of disable your lightsaber early in the combat that ensued. It was destroyed. When your master lit up, started chopping the few that remained, one of the clones got very, very desperate in the fight and decided to use his attachment to you against them. They closed on your position, and your master couldn't get to you in time to block income. And his sacrifice was thus through his saber, knowing that yours had been destroyed at you, for you to catch, for you to wield, for you to defend yourself, and left himself vulnerable with only his powers. Now, Jedi powers are nothing to be sneezed at, but when you push a guy, choke a guy, throw a guy, that's nice. But if you don't actually have energy that you can absorb in your hand like Vader, a barrage of blaster bolts eventually will do your work on anyone not wielding a lightsaber to block them. So in horror, these memories come back to you while you sleep, you parrying blaster bolts with your master's saber as he commanded you to run, to back, to retreat, get away. You couldn't press the fight to get to his side. Him using his powers to push back clones, to close doors, to isolate the two of you. And the last you saw of him was a door shutting and them closing in on him, and he was saberless. You looked down in your hand, you held his saber, and choking back emotions, ran, lived, survived, learning quite quickly later that you had to disguise yourself, go underground, that this was happening all over, that the Clone War, the senators, just turned on the Jedi, blamed them for everything, and had them all executed. Your new life, this poser sham that the guy liner, the axe, the rock band, all of it a farce, all of it a mask, all of it to hide the fact of you really are what you've really lost. Your guitar that you love stands in a corner as you wake up in the middle of the night. Its power source, refining the sound. The amplifier calls to you, though you wield it during the day, though you play it for fun, and you've modified it 100 times over. You put it down, when you shut it off, when you sleep. Its proximity to you reminds you of your connection to the contain. Calls to you. Merrick.
Yeah.
You've been busy.
I have been.
From what I understand, for certain feats, which you are qualified to teach, for certain skills in your soldier class and such, you've been schmoozing side by side with Eldoranians and party members alike, checking everyone's guns, remembering every moment of every fight. For someone that everyone takes so simply, it is Merrick who, matter-of-factly, lays out the war stories, tells the crew the combats that we suffered, and his recollection of where everyone stands, where they went, what they shot, what they did, is like a panoramic 360 view. You're surprised that he noticed things that he could not possibly remember in the heat of combat. And he just, if anyone asks, he lays it out, tells everybody, and has overnight gained the respect, maybe because he's so cute, of the crew. He knows his weapons. He knows what it was to go through the Clone Wars. And Merrick is not the first to notice that a lot of this crew is pretty young. Besides a couple senior officers, a lot of this crew is like cadet, Eldoranian cadets and security force, or like mall cop security force that they've trained recently and turned into this crew. Bunch of rookies, 80% or more of this crew. So they seek you guys out. They want news of the outside world when they're allowed to talk to you guys. They want war stories and stuff. Now, because you guys work for Bail Organa, not even a lot of them you realize know who they're really working for the security of Guild of Varth and Captain Vresha's, own confidence, who has warned you when you guys stepped aboard with subtle hints, and then later, literally pulled you guys aside, had somebody contact you, don't talk about Bail Organa. You don't know them, you don't work for them, and, tight-lipped even amongst my own crew, which I believe up to this point you guys have respected. But, Merrick, where have you been? What world are you from? What action did you see during the wars? Were you stationed near Alderaan? what are you doing here? All these questions come your way. And even though the big guy is quite intimidating, to seeing him taking up half a bench in the meal hall, it seems to be him they approach. The large soldier, perhaps they just feel they have something in common with. Merrick, how do you handle all this attention?
With few words. It does not matter where I come from. I am a soldier. I fight for cause, not for cause. For money. I do not care.
But the war is over, is one of the common questions you get asked.
So what is a soldier to do when there is no war?
They all raise eyebrows like you're pausing for effect and could have an answer for them. Tell us, sage-like, barn-sized soldier.
I have tried fighting for causes in the past. It is not good. It never ends well. Now, I fight for money. I fight to be good with my weapon. I fight to be the best at what I do.
Some get it. Most who are, homeworld security turned into a ship's crew and, are patriotic to their homeworld. When you start talking about, mercantile, cash, whatever, it turns a lot of them off. A lot of people stop bugging you. You spoke early this morning with Rahal, before your meal, that he's going to approach the captain, try and get us a ride to go pick up that T-2400 that we saw in a nearby system. Best of luck to him. Asked you to just, go about it, and if he smells that he's getting lucky with the captain or whatever, to be ready by, 900 hours, that type of thing. So besides working on your own training, besides helping party members with, anything from gun tweaks to that type of thing, you as well with the scout, the old man, for basic, stance, posture, all your basic 101 tricks that these guys. Now, you have a pretty capable crew. You've seen them, and particularly in the last battles that you fought against the stormtroopers, these guys who have never fought together as a unit were at least cooperative with each other's tactics. If one guy did something like toss a grenade, everyone just reacted like, okay, this is what we're doing now, and fell into line behind that tactic. There was no desertion, there was no bitching, there was no arguing on the line or in the middle of combat, which is like suicide for anyone. So even though these guys don't think as one and move as one, they watch each other and read each other and adapt very, very, very quickly in combat, which is enough that you probably feel that these guys have potential. There's no hole in your back. If these are the guys that have to watch your back while you watch Rawls, you're pretty confident that, a shot might get through or something, but you know what I'm saying? There's no serious problem behind you.
I am part of a good unit.
Not bad. Rahal, you finally catch the captain alone.
Excellent.
And may I have your your approach, and then we'll discuss any penalties or bonuses to an actual. You approach Captain Verona.
Sure. Oh, Captain Verona, just the man I was looking for. Hey, I was wondering if when your next resupply is going down. I'm just trying to get myself to a point of commerce somewhere. I got some creds to spend, and I'm looking to purchase a ship.
Oh? Are you leaving us so soon?
Well, you mentioned that there was some future work happening, but if you don't have anything pressing, I wouldn't mind upgrading my modus of transportation.
Well, I haven't really decided on any sort of voice pattern or accent yet, but if I'm shooting from the hip, so to speak, I believe that our benefactor may have a new offer. We've been speaking with Admiral Varth, and he has some very interesting information that I believe could actually turn into a lucrative, shall we say, next mission for you. I'd hate to see you go so early.
Well, I didn't say I was leaving. Like I said, I'm just looking to acquire a starship.
Well, I guess that's understandable, considering Captain O'Keefe's opinion of you.
Precisely.
But I'm afraid I have my orders, and I cannot sort of spend fuel or time to take you back into a lane in a nearby system. It's her you're going to have to approach.
Right.
However, he says, she will, if you do manage to talk her into it, I'll make sure she has the coordinates that she can rendezvous with us to not only continue trading for our benefactor, but, stay in line if you wish to, shall we say, accept the next mission.
Well, I'm not going to speak for my entire crew, but I can speak for myself. I'm looking forward to the work. I actually rather enjoyed that last run we did for you guys. So,
Really? He says, I hear you almost died.
Well, what can I say? It builds character.
He smiles and reaches out and pats you on the shoulder. He says, indeed. Well, if you'll excuse me. And he just kind of raises an eyebrow and points off to the left. and you follow his eye, and sure enough, you see sort of Captain Serona, just a glimpse of her crossing through the end of a hallway.
Well, thank you very much, and sorry to take so much of your time. Give him a nod and head off in that direction.
All right. You try and catch up with Rona?
With
Serona?
Serona?
Captain O'Keefe?
Yep.
Okay. Quick stepping down the hallway, rounding a corner, trying to figure out where she went. She's actually headed to the back of the ship and does not enter the officers' quarters or get onto the docking rings to actually enter her own ship, as far as you can tell. She's actually headed to where you guys were cabining, as it were.
Sweet.
So you got it cornered, so to speak, because once she passes over that last docking ring, which you believe she already has, you're pretty sure that, she hasn't popped the hatch and the little lights would flash and all that for her to go through the airlock into her own ship.
Sure.
She's probably just missed her again around that S-bend at the very end of the hall.
Is there anyone else aside from the crew that's staying, are there any other guests staying in the crew quarters?
Maybe. I mean, you've seen people come and go, but everyone you've seen come and go is in a uniform. The only civilian clothed or, private mercenary type clothed like you guys is Captain O'Keefe.
Okay.
You haven't run into any other sort of, civilian or guest, especially at least not at your end of the ship.
Okay.
Everyone's in uniform, nods, kind of, I guess they've all been briefed to who you are. They watch you, I guess, to make sure that you stay where you were told to stay and not just run around the entire ship.
Right.
But, they're friendly. And
I've been training with them.
Yep. Well, like I said, I didn't want to catch myself in a loop here. Like, technically, I've said you guys have been here like a day and a half. So the training montages are yet to come.
Right.
But like I said, so far, you've been approached and somebody, like, on the first food line, somebody kind of nudged some info, like, so, you guys come from, like, obviously they've been ordered not to ask you questions directly. But some of the curious, ensigns and cadets and crewmen just kind of make a comment like, oh, I hate this food, is it this bad where you come from, to see if they can't just like lead you into a question by mistake and not getting shit for it. Well, he's just talking about the food on his home world. They've probably been here in deep space floating around for a couple of weeks and they're a little bored, so newcomers, new faces, and then there's like, nope, don't talk to them, don't ask them direct questions, like, oh man, oh dad, it's Chuck. So a couple of like approach you guys, and Merrick's very popular for some reason with the basic crew. So anyway, just missing her around that last corner, you get down to the actual crew quarters again.
Okay.
And there's that S-bend.
Yep.
And, stepping out into the corridor, funny enough, you see her all the way down the end of the hallway, and she's standing outside someone's door, waiting, perhaps knocking or ringing the bell. And before you get a chance to sort of like, oh, there she is, and start walking towards her and call out, she takes a step back, and Arthur comes out of Dr. Leth's room and beeps at her like, hey.
Sorry, I just glitched out for a second. I missed like the last 10 seconds.
As you round that corner, you see her waiting in front of somebody's room. Not sure which one it is right off the top because of her distance. Before you get that chance to sort of like, oh, there you are, and take a step forward and call out to her, the door opens and Arthur comes out of the room that she wants to go in.
Okay.
Obviously denoting this as Dr. Leth's room.
Okay.
And she steps inside, and the door closes. What do you do?
Roll on up to Arthur.
Okay. He meets you halfway down the distance of the hall, kind of gives you the, hello, the beep beep, and keeps going by you.
I'll stop him and be like, yo, because I speak binary.
Sure. Rolls around.
And I'll beep bop to him, asking him what's going on with the captain.
He understands Galactic Basic.
Oh, okay.
The fact that you understand binary means you can understand what he says, and you can do the R2 Luke Skywalker.
No, I'll be polite. I'll speak it to him.
Oh, okay. First thing he tells you is your binary is actually. You know what? What is this like? Scat? Ski bap doo bap.
Yeah.
Sure. Let's hear it.
No. Okay. I'll just.
Ski doo bap doo. Yeah. I speak lounge lizard drill.
Beep shabbity beep bap. She did that.
He tells you your binary is horrible.
Right. So what's going on with the good doctor and the Captain O'Keefe there?
Says he doesn't know. He was just, leaving on an errand for his master, and she was out there, and he said to let her in.
Right.
She didn't have an appointment, if that's what you mean.
Basically, exactly what I was asking. I know what the doctor's studying. I just want to know if I go knock on the door, if I'm going to be interrupting something.
Well, he had me answer the door, and then when he saw it was her, he decided suddenly to give me the task that he was going to give me later. While it was sort of while you're at the door, you know what? Just go do this now. Let her in.
Right.
I wanted to hear what they were going to talk about.
All right, well, carry on your way then. Thanks for the info. And I'll go down to my room and open the door and just kind of lean in the doorway and wait.
Okay. No one sees Arthur round a corner, find a quiet panel, hack in, pull up security feed, and listen in on the conversation anyway. Maybe.
Wait,
Sorry.
Would they have security cameras in each of the rooms?
Yep, bathroom too. The rotten perverts. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. He's just checking on things. Maybe somebody has an appointment with somebody. You can. No, you're correct. These rooms aren't bugged or anything, as far as you know. However, sorry, Rahal, you go down to the room and do what?
Go down to my room, open the door, and set it to just stay open and just sit and chill and watch for her to
pass by in case when you get the chance.
Yeah.
Sure.
Stand around, put out the vibe.
Awesome. Yeah, you put out the vibe. All right. So
polish my pinstripe stormtrooper armor. Get a good shine on it.
Well, actually, that's a good question. Let's go around. You guys had picked up armor and really had a chance to tamper with it or play with it. I was discussing with Jay recently, modifying armor to suit him and that thing. So I'm just curious, has anyone, a quick peek into your lives, the 3rd level, has anyone actually learned to wear this stuff or plan to learn the next couple of weeks? So here's the thing. They've questioned Varth. You guys know this, but they're checking him out. They're checking his story. You know what I mean? Before whatever this mission they're cooking up, or maybe coming up with the mission takes some time to plan, there's some downtime so that they can check references or, validate the guy's story or whatever. Because if he showed up and went, oh, this is going on, and they went, right, you guys, go check it out, like right now, and have you guys walk into some depth trap where you guys get captured, tortured, and give away their position currently, and have cruisers jump out of space within 24 hours and ambush the ship would be bad. So they're going by the numbers. They're talking to him. They heard his story. They're contemplating. They're blah, blah, blah. And this is where you kind of get this expected, 48 hours to maybe a week or so, downtime before whatever mission that he's coming up your way, which will give us lots of time to train. But bring me back to my original question. Are you actually trained in or such said armor that you can wear
not
this
right, not right now, but that's what I'm doing. I'm polishing it up. I'm getting the funk of the previous owner out of it.
The funk.
Checking to see if it's the standard mod or if it's been adjusted for any reason.
Okay. How about the rest of you? You guys all interested in modifying, acquiring this armor? I think we had Merrick just strapping stormtrooper armor, still with stormtroopers in it, baby carriage style, on the front and back of him in the last battle.
Form of clone.
No, this armor is still no competition for my muscles.
Okay.
No, I can wear it. So I actually took the feet.
Okay. Oh, so you've got like the bright white boots and shin guards up to your knees, and then it's all camo and bloodstains.
Yeah, it'll have just kind of an exotic paint motif on it to kind of make it look more camo-y.
Oh, okay. So you mod it, but I'm saying, how much of it are you wearing, and are you proficient?
Yes, I'm wearing the recon set, and I am proficient.
And you've customized it, I guess is what you're trying to say, right?
Yeah, just so it doesn't look all painstakingly white while I'm trying to hide.
Yeah. Well, you could add some black and gray and go urban camo, or you could just totally camo it up with whatever camouflage.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Poser, does armor interest you?
No, not at all.
Does not really have. Yeah.
Well, he isn't proficient in it, and it would give him another -2 to his attack modifier. Which would I don't need more negatives to my already negative attack modifier.
I was gonna say, at this point, it wouldn't really make that much of a difference.
He doesn't really hit much anyway. You better playing the axe and swinging it. But bring us down to Dr. Leth.
Yes, I am working on learning to use armor properly. I noticed the advantages of it in our past encounters quite quickly.
Okay. And would you hit up in the time to come the Eldoradian ship crew, or would you hit up one of your own guys to show you the ropes?
Probably those of my own crew that I've been around with. It would give me more of a chance to obtain observation while at the same time learning useful skills on my own.
So you're going to hit up probably our scout and our soldier,
probably,
who are
yes.
trained in it, and try to put them in a room together and see if there's sparks while they both explain how to wear armor and use it to you, or
Yes. Oh, well, that, or possibly I've heard rumors that at least one of them was training some of the members of this ship. I could see it be reasonable for me to then ask for assistance in the use of armor.
Okay. This sort of sharing of skill could be pretext to a courting ritual and possibly tie into your research. Is that where you're going with this?
Indeed. You never know exactly who will be... if one of them is perhaps being a teacher, that is, in some cultures, that is a general form of courtship. Teacher and student.
Yeah, well, armor is attire, and
that
if they're helping each other put on and off and function and strut around in attire, who knows what sparks will fly. Okay, interesting. I hadn't really thought about that till now, and getting you to clarify. Okay, coming back around to Rahal. Couple hours are ticking by, man. She hasn't come out of the room.
This very, very shiny set of stormtrooper armor that I'm planning on.
You got this one patch. You've wiped the stripes right off of it. Polished.
Damn it. I'll flip on the comm quick and just go, excuse me, Dr. Left?
What is it now?
Sorry, don't mean to interrupt, but I happened to see Captain O'Keefe step into your private quarters there, and I've been meaning to have a word with her.
She hears her name and immediately starts emphatically gesturing at you, left, like, no, not here, no. Kind of waving her arms around. Just as soon as she hears her own name on the comm, just like does the, no, starts packing up and head for the door.
And what would you like? What would you have of me? What, I don't understand the question.
I was just wondering if you're about to finish up your business with her, or if I could have a word with her when you're finished.
I'd imagine that would be up to O'Keefe.
She kind of makes a flat face at you and waves like, fine. Before this gets any worse,
I hand over the communication.
All right. What is it?
Oh, Captain O'Keefe. I was just wondering if I could steal a minute of your time and discuss a proposition with you.
You currently are. What do you want?
I'm looking to make my way to a trading post off ship and was wondering if you would be able to provide transport.
Just you or your whole group?
Well, I'm not sure if all of us are going to come, but at least a few of us. Myself and Merrick for sure. I'm hoping Dr. Leth and Old Man Zinn will be accompanying as well.
Wait, what does he want me to do?
I'm planning on purchasing transportation for our little group. A more permanent mode of transportation, I should say.
You're buying your own ship, she says? Leth, you see her, stick a hand on her hip and hold the thing up high and goes, how much are they paying you?
I've got my own resources.
Well, he's not lying.
Fine. I suppose that would be to my advantage.
You won't have to deal with me so much.
Oh, you'd be surprised how much they want me to... Never mind, she says, suddenly changing her line of thought of what she's willing to reveal. Can I have a perception check, Dr. Leth?
Perception 19.
Something she said earlier, a little while ago, while you guys were negotiating, laid sort of hint to that she feels trapped because they want to do something or that type of thing. She's been kind of commandeered, whether she likes it or not. And then she come back around to you and made certain propositions, and we're talking about a whole bunch of stuff before we got interrupted. And again, just now, she kind of make hints at that sort of, that maybe she's being corralled, or maybe she thought she was going to drop you guys off, hang out for a day, resupply, and leave, and they're not letting her. Anyway, back to O'Keefe. Never mind, she says, waving her hand as if Rahal could see it, or she could just make the transmission end by, it's wave. But you got to get us the captain's permission to leave. I'm refueling. They've kind of pushed me down the line of importance.
Right. Well, I'll get on that ASAP.
Good.
Is
that it?
Yeah, that's it for me. And Dr. Leth, if I could get a minute to talk with you a little later on in private, that would be wonderful.
Later on, she says. Not now. I'm not through with you. And then click, the comm goes off, Rahal.
Perfect. So I will track down the captain.
Well, as far as you know, when you talked to him earlier, you had permission to go. He said you just got to talk. He said, yeah, sure, go ahead, blah, blah, blah. This is all understandable. And, all you got to do is talk her into it.
Sweet.
So it's just a matter of waiting on said fuel. It's a dirty trick. Maybe they're stalling her.
Well, then, let's go and deal with the resupply, folks. See if I can work my swagger.
All right. You know where she's docked? She's actually docked in docking ring 3, which is relatively close to our quarters.
Yeah, but I have to find the crew who's going to do the refueling.
Right. So you could hack into the manifest, skill challenge. You could just grab the first crew member and say who would be in charge of these sort of things.
Which is what I do.
And hope within. Okay. All right. So you head out your open door.
Head out my door, close it behind me, get my swagger strut going, head on down to the docking ring to see if there's any personnel there that I can inquire with.
No one's about. Like I said, you're probably going to have to go to the foredeck and start wandering those decks to get the right officer or whatever.
Sure.
Some gather information from you, sir.
Absolutely. Gather information of 25.
Okay. Not only do you find like the right guy, then there's sort of like you can actually, with that awesome roll, I'll let you cut through a little bit of red tape and you get to the guy that can like literally give permission. And you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Not the guy assigned to like, pump the fuel. The guy
that tells him what fuel to pump.
Yeah, makes the decision of how much she gets, and I have the captain's authorization, the guy.
Yep.
Circumvent some red tape and get the right guy. In this particular instance, we'll refer to him as a quartermaster because ye old pirate days and ship days.
It probably would still be a quartermaster.
Yep, is in charge of supplies on a ship.
Sweet.
So you track down quartermaster.
And ask him if he can...
His name is Alan.
Alan, straight up Alan, with first name basis. That was a good roll.
No, his last name is Alan, so it's like Officer Alan.
Officer Alan.
Ensign Alan.
I'll call him Quartermaster.
Yeah.
Quartermaster Alan. May I have a word with you?
Nods, comes over, waves away whoever he's talking to. He's got his big data pad and he's constantly working on stuff.
What would a gentleman have to do to get a rush put on fueling up Captain O'Keefe's vessel?
His bushy eyebrows come together in scrutiny, like he's suspicious of where this conversation is going. But they lighten up and he just slowly shrugs at you like,
well, let me tell you, sir, I can certainly make it worth your while if you do. I'm heading off world, and if you had anything special you'd like me to procure while I'm out there, I would be more than happy to.
An eyebrow comes up as if to inquire, where were you going?
And then that I don't have a direct answer for, but it'd be the nearest.
This is the system where you think you can score a ship. Okay. He thinks about it for a minute, tapping his pad, and then nods, holds up his stylus pen that interacts with the pad, like, give me a second here, makes a bunch of punctuation and slides a bunch of stuff, that kind of thing. And then there's like a SD card. He pushes a button and an SD card pops out of the top of his little big data pad. Little big. His big data pad, a little SD card pops out of it.
Yep.
He hands it to you.
Data chip.
Yep. He hands it to you. And, points by way of the supply.
Okay.
You go down that to the guys that are actually like, the supply room and the type of thing where that, fuel tank kind of thing for an auxiliary ship. The docking room is probably set up that they could refuel, like there's a nozzle and then there's just fuel lines that run within the ship.
It connects to the docking ring.
Tank. Yeah, it connects to an auxiliary tank. I really can't see them like lugging rocket fuel around.
No, like the docking ring would have a connection to transfer oxygen, water, and fuel.
Exactly. Right. So with this chip, it will give you access so that you can sort of, prime the pump and get going.
Yep. So I'll nod to him, say thank you, sir. And was there a special request you had for me? Death sticks.
It's like he kind of points at the chip. Like when you're done with its access, there's probably a file added that he's punched up. It's got like a list.
Oh, okay.
If you come across any of these items, get them.
So I'll take the chip and slide it into my personal data pad and download the attachment.
Okay. He turns on his heel. Really, really good conversationalist, this guy. You like him. He's a man of few words, gets the point across with a few gestures and eyebrows, and he goes back to his work.
Gives me more time for small talk.
And, what do you want to know? You have the chip, which will obtain the fuel, which is the key to getting Sorona's ship going. You have the captain's permission. Dr. Left, let's say, has the captain detained, so you know where she is when you need her to fly said ship.
Yep.
The droid that she's very fond of, her co-pilot Crash, is sort of, is the ship. He's got a stool in the cargo, so you go. You just got to gather your guys.
Take the chip down, deliver it to get the ship refueled, and talk to Merrick. Get him ready. I'm going to need his mechanical expertise.
Okay.
Talk to Old Man Zinn because he mentioned he would be interested in investing into the venture.
Yep.
And last but not least, see if I can get a private moment with Dr. Leth.
Okay. You radio these guys, or you just make the rounds and knock on doors?
Poser's broke. he doesn't even factor into my equation. he's like a ghost to me.
So do you just go get the ship and just leave the disgruntled Tina port with the Eldoradians? He's your problem now.
Oh, we're coming back.
Oh, I hope so. Otherwise, Aiden, you need a new dude because they abandoned you on the insurgents. You need a brand new guy.
No, I'll let him know and ask him if he wants to come along for sure.
That's how you make a Sith real quick.
Yeah, really just pouty.
Yeah.
The entire first
I can't believe they just left me here.
That just leaves me just automatic, just amber eyes.
Yeah, really. Well, there's this montage of days and hours going by where he's just left alone to stew. Next time they see him, he's all ambered up. Right?
No. The ship would leave, and as the ship is leaving, the camera would stay on the on the big ship, and you just see lightning arcing through the windows.
Yeah, he's just glaring at the window with big glowing amber.
So they come back. It's like the Ishimura from Dead Space, where just blood everywhere, bodies, just limbs scattered.
We all thought you'd lose your Jedi because you died. Nope.
There you go.
Just ditching me.
Nobody can throw a friggin' fit like a Jedi angsty teenager.
Speaking of said Jedi,
Hi.
You do have to calibrate the amplifier to the guitar's power source every once in a while. And when you don't tweak it, let's say to calm it down, the juice going through it sort of amplifies its former use, and your dreams get worse. So I think it's time to get the old guitar, do some tweaking,
take her in for a tune-up,
something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Something he does only when he knows he's got lots of time, he won't be disturbed. Kind of like this morning. No one's
with minerals and such.
It's kind of like a teen vacuuming his room. You don't disturb him.
Vacuuming.
Oh, there's my pizza, my butt. So, Poser, after a night of vivid recollect and that bloody thing calling to this morning, everyone got up, ate, did all this stuff. I've been poking everyone around the ship. What have you been doing this morning?
Probably trying to sleep again.
Okay.
Look, when you don't get enough sleep at night, you catch up for it later. But
okay, no, that's fine.
But no, if it keeps bugging him, he'll realize he needs to retune, and he'll start taking apart the guitar.
All right. Well, first of all, like I said, you try to get rest, and you do. You sleep for several hours. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you do sleep in, and you do wake, and you wake up. You sit up normally, tired, see groggy, sleep in Saturday, kind of tired. Swing your legs over the bunk, hanging there, your sort of shins on knees, just kind of sitting there rubbing your eyes. And this thing, you got to pull apart soon. It's time to tweak it, type of thing. And then you hear something like a buzzing or almost like a thrumming noise, and it's like, did I leave it plugged in? Was I? Oh, right, it's the power pack, or whatever. So you go over, you start pulling on this thing, pulling apart, and the battery, like the energy cell that you use to power it,
yeah,
because it's a vibro axe, is completely drained.
Interesting.
It shouldn't be. Like you got a fresh one in it. Like, it's the type of thing. Like,
I have a few of them, and I recharge them. Like I have a power recharger. So
exactly, you recharge them, and this is one of the first things you did as just part of your downtime. The first day, get all the batteries, get some good food, get good sleep. Right. This morning you wake up, and after your bad dreams or whatever, the one that's in the guitar completely drained, empty, kaput.
Huh.
So you begin doing the montage of stripping the guitar, removing its energy components that make it a vibro blade, sharpening it, tweaking it, all this nice little thing. You get down to your special modification, which we say amplify your guitar. An amplifier in guitar world is you plug it in and it amplifies its natural sound. Kaboom. In his guitar, since it's a weapon, what he does is he has a power source, which is a power source anti-vibro blade, causing the blade to vibrate subtly but rapidly, giving it like this sort of razor cutting edge. Those plug-in roast steak cutters that have the two blades that just go back and forth by themselves, and they make that like blender noise, and you just cut the roast by pushing down. This is sort of what a vibro blade does. It doesn't have shifting parts, but it itself sort of vibrates back and forth, almost like a sawing motion, microscopically.
Hypersonic frequency.
Exactly. And gives it that extra damage, that extra cut. because he uses an instrument, it actually doesn't work so well as a weapon. It's a really weird, probably illegal thing that I've gifted him with at the beginning of the game. But to stabilize this, putting the weapon off balance because he's gutted parts of it to make it actually work as a guitar, kind of a crappy sounding guitar, or he's come up with an amplifying tool, something he's inserted in the guitar to make it sort of work as its own amp, and he can walk around just playing it, and it gives off noise like an acoustic would, wah, kind of thing, and it's some kind of future tech microscopic component, or whatever. Anyway, this is what you believe.
I believe they call it a speaker.
Yeah, drains your power source. When you get down to that point and you see the base component, again, your mind wants to travel back in time. Brushing these aside, you set to the mundane task of cleaning, checking connections, putting it together. You don't realize that you've become so focused in the mundane task of tuning, stripping, aligning, rewiring, readjusting your guitar. It's a meditation in itself. And you suddenly realize that there's just you, the guitar, and the table, and the walls, and the floor, and everything sort of fall away in like a fog and are replaced by a rhythmic jungle. You see the village, the Felucian village where you guys visit. Huts crushed, bodies burnt, remnants of destruction littered through this village that was so well hit. The canopy, how I first described it, overhanging, and the vines encroached on the village itself, where the natural living jungle refused to be pushed back. Even a primal type for these savages have been trampled as if giant feet had come and stomped down and just ripped this place apart. Big, round, flanged on four sides, hugely weighted, pushed a foot into the ground, footprint, walk around, bodies trampled, corpses burning, but not a lot. You had a basic idea of how many there were. Maybe some brave warrior stayed to village to buy escaping. You're not sure. But the wreckage, the carnage, definitely pulls at your gut. Is this you imagining things? What may have happened? It was Poser, gentlemen, that kept reminding us while we were inside the prison compound that there was a walker walking around outside, and we left it. Now, I might be partial to blame for that because I said, it's inconsequential, it's far away, you guys can get in and out. But enter the Imperials who, basically by this time have probably discovered your handiwork. What would they do? Search the rubble, look for evidence, follow you into space, expand a search, maybe think you guys are on foot and just start searching. Maybe this is Poser's imagination playing on himself, that he's just so worried that his, new sort of step-in adopted master shaman guy, that he, by leaving, may have opened up the aggression of the Empire on the planet surface, that they might actually start looking for him and find the poor Felucians. Now, these people aren't stupid. They hid well. They're all Force sensitive. Not they're any match for, battalions of Empire, but you know what I mean? These guys probably would not be caught unaware. They're tapped into the planet. If something comes stomping over Imperials, they would probably be in tune enough to get the hell out, possibly on the run. But still, death, destruction in your wake. Wonder, it real? A dream, a vision of what's to come, a possible past of your imagination. Then you feel like the vision floats you. You are rising up off the ground. You pull back like a bird's eye view, like you're being thrown, pulled backwards, sucked towards the side of a mountaintop, and the smoke trail, the only evidence of betraying the location of said destroyed village, becomes almost a dot, a minor detail on a horizon of massive jungle with those large curling hat peaked mountaintops poking in from all sides. And it's one of these mountains behind you that you're drawn to in your vision. You suddenly stop and you're high above, looking down on a ledge, squinting to see the small smoke trail of the location of that village miles away. Suddenly you become aware of it beside you. You turn. You just see scruffy chin, the nose, a man well over 30, old, young-ish, can't tell, beaten, wearing some sort of rags, and is speaking, possibly to you, but speaking out over the vast. Does not turn his head towards you. His hands slowly come up over his ragged cowl, and as he starts to pull it back, he says something. Frank.
Oh.
Do you want me to feed you the line?
Yes, please.
They were my friends.
Okay. See, kind of throws the cowl back and looks around.
I don't want to see your face.
Oh.
Not yet. Like I said, he just catches the edge of the profile, the hands are coming up, and he says one thing just as the hood's coming back, and he just sees your mouth saying it, as you say.
Reaches up. These were my friends.
And the head turns towards you, as if to, accuse you, look you in the eye, and suddenly, bing bong, snapping you back into reality. Your comm buzzer's going off. Suddenly you're back in the room, the guitar, no one standing beside you, no jungle. You're wide awake. You're there. You're in the room. The crystal amplifying mineral component in your fingers out of the dangles. Your head's turned to your left to view the person that's no longer there. You're just looking at your empty bunk. And you're calm, wherever you left it. Buzz, 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 going off, snapping you back senses. Rahal, he's not picking up.
Of course he's not. All right.
Not at first. Poser.
Yeah.
Coming back to reality, do you pick up the comm?
Yeah.
All right. He finally answers.
Yeah, it'll take me a second, but yeah.
Hey, sorry to interrupt you, but we're taking a little tour down to. Do we have a place?
Yep.
What?
Let me pull up a galactic map here.
Sweet.
Insert shipyard here.
Yeah.
Not any shipyard.
It's a day trip.
Yeah. Just going for a day trip. I was just wondering if maybe you wanted to roll out with us.
Yeah. When are we leaving?
Probably sometime in the next hour or so, I think.
All right. Yeah. I'll meet you out in the hallway.
All right.
Finish up.
Okay. Your actual location, gentlemen, of the ship, where it's floating, where it's been sailing to, with you guys not literally looking out the window, you're not on any kind of hyperspace trade route, and they haven't really hyperspace since you guys have been aboard. But judging by the fact that you're on Felucia and how many hours, said days, it took Captain O'Keefe to get you guys to the ship, and then just sort of going on the holofeed and saying, hey, what's this, blah, 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 you know that you had to kind of look near Felucia, which just kind of makes sense. Somewhere between Alderaan and Felucia is where you guys scan the entire galaxy, for a shipyard. So how far away you guys are from this place, not sure. But you guys want to make a quick little jaunt over to the Aquarius.
The Aquarius system. Okay.
The awkward system.
Awkward.
Aquarius. It's
I need to zoom in. Can you shift ping that?
Oh, he's highlighted. Thank you.
Perfect.
You guys seeing it? You guys seeing
Yep.
this?
Yep.
Aquarius is a place. Galactic lore, boys and girls. Or, yeah, because you guys all discussed the ship and where its yard is. So, go roll quick redcon back in time when you guys were all discussing buying a ship and, could we talk someone taking an Aquarius? Can I have galactic lore?
I rolled a 21.
I got a 10. I know.
Do we have to be trained to be able to make the rolls?
Not in galactic lore.
No, I don't think that one's
Okay.
Just rolls off your intelligence.
17.
12.
Okay. Most of you guys know Aquarius. It's not the planet that points out. It's, those old sci-fis where the colonies were a domed city, perfectly round with the hub shell over it, and then they had the wall, which was the base of the crystal shell, and you could see the city in it. Aquarius has those types of cities in it, okay, but it's actually with this 21 for the big brief. I'm going to send you a link here and pull this up, guys, but we'll let Rahal be the one to blah blah blah. But Aquarius, as in aqua, okay, actually refers to the city as opposed to the planet, because it is a city where the Mon Calamari live and other people can visit if you can get to it. Rahal,
Yes.
did you see this?
Do I see what? Oh, there it is. Okay. All right.
Here, I'll even paste the relevant information.
The domed city of Aquarius was the underwater center of civilization on Dac.
As Rahal, please.
Right.
Share it. Rahal's take on this.
Sure. We're actually going to a really interesting place. It's this domed city underwater on the world Dac. We'll see a lot of those fish guys. What do you call them? The Mon Calamaris.
And as soon as someone pipes up, why the hell would we want to go there? They are somebody that has a YT-24 because they have no use for one.
Sweet.
It crashed. It sank. They salvaged it, and it's like, for sale. Up it goes.
Excellent.
So if someone would be so kind as to feed me that line, then you can have your awesome, snappy answer.
Sure. The Mon Calamari salvaged this white.
Well, someone's got to ask you, why would we go to an underwater city for a ship?
Now, why exactly do we need to go to an underwater city?
Oh, there's a smoking deal there. The Mon Calamari salvaged this YT-2400. It's pretty much a new ship, and they're selling it for the right price. They got no use for it there underwater, so I figure, and it's in range.
Wait, Toral, you're saying this ship has crashed on this planet and you wish to buy a crash?
It's been salvaged, but that's why I want you to come along. I don't want to get ripped off, and you've got a good head for mechanics.
The ad did say suffered light water surface landing and began to submerge, and they salvaged it. And with the engines or something, some reason why the original crew couldn't really get it away or something before it sunk. Then the calamari went do. Oh, depth 100, thank you. Yoink! Anyone, international waters, thank you, buy ours. Somebody salvaged it, sold it. Probably spent weeks drying it out and stuff, but I'm assuming the better they've done with this ship to fix it up, fix the engines, or dry it out, then the higher the price. Yeah. The worse shape it's in because of waterlogged and sunk. Also, it's deemed for space, right? So no pressure, but airtight. So as long as they got their hands on it before it got crushed or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like, it's probably
not to mention the smell.
The city's probably not that far into water, like diveable distance.
Yep.
It's not like the secret city of Aquarius where you need bell gear to get to.
I'm sorry, but every time you say Aquarius, I keep thinking of the song.
When the moon is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars.
It's the ship stuck on Aquarius. Everybody, the ship stuck on Aquarius will be ours.
Sorry, don't recognize the song.
2400. Sorry.
You have to watch 40-Year-Old Virgin.
Yep, I didn't even want to say that. Hey, Aiden, why don't you watch the movie 40-Year-Old Virgin? No reason. And they sing it at the end. Being the only cast member that's not over 40. Anyway.
Hey.
Not for any other reason.
Oi.
There's only 2 cast members that are over 40.
Point.
I know.
Right. So.
Sorry, Frank.
Use your SD card. Imagine they still have this Earth-type technology, even though it was in a galaxy long time ago and far, far away.
Data chip.
To get your gas. To fuel up.
Yep.
To convince O'Keefe.
Yep.
And aboard the Banshee, we set coordinates in hyperspace to
Aquarius.
Next week, next time. See you next week, everybody. Underwater. It's an underwater adventure. It's Ruins of Atlantis, Star Wars edition.